People have been discussing sticky strike versus sticky delta spot vol dynamics since I came in New York in 2004, when I started working in equity derivatives. At the time, many people were bragging that they implemented a mixture of sticky strike and sticky delta, and they thought that this is, at that time, it was considered the state of the art. But it seems like the discussion about these two approaches still continue. So I'd like to get some clarity on this topic. First of all, why people even came up with such approaches. Of course, once you fit options to some volatility curve, it's important to know how you update your prices when the underlying moves. And there were two approaches generally formed. One was sticky strike, which was more popular in options. In equity, there's a pretty well-defined skew, and the sticky strike approach correctly described the leverage effect that volatility at the money volatility increases if the underlying goes down. Although it happened to be not by the right amount, but at least this qualitatively captured this effect correctly. And in FX markets, where people parameterize the vol surfaces as a function of delta, they froze their volatility surface as the volatility shape, and that's how it's been modeled for a long time in FX markets. So let me tell you two reasons why people thought that you really need to have some adjustments. One is in FX markets, say you have this smile. They usually FX markets has relatively small skew, so when the underlying moves, the money vol doesn't move much, but the change in the volatility of the tail options is usually affected by the curvature of the volatility curve. So translating this curvature, shifting the curve, made a big difference in the deltas of the tail options. Whereas sticky strike gave you this leverage effect. In 2003, Bruno Dupier gave a presentation where he showed very clearly that both sticky strike and sticky delta are impossible. Basically, if the market did move this way, it would be easy to arbitrage it with dynamic trading strategy. So we know that's not how the market moves. Then later on in 2009, Lorenzo Bergomi published his Smile Dynamics 4, and later wrote a book where he spent a lot of time describing how the volatility surfaces actually move. So the current state of the art is kind of almost a mixture of the two approaches. So on the one hand, you assume that the shape of the curve is sticky in some normalized coordinates. It could be in either in delta or in normalized strike, which to the first order is the same thing. But the money vol doesn't move along the skew of the vol curve, but moves along a path that is a little bit steeper than the skew of the volatility curve. And the ratio of the slope of the volatility path, the path of the money vol, with respect to the underlying price, to the ratio to the slope of the implied volatility curve with respect to strike. So the ratio of those two slopes is called Skew Stickiness Ratio. That was determined, introduced by Lorenzo Bergomi, and that's the main parameter that determines the spot vol dynamics. So nobody should be using sticky strike. Nobody should be using sticky delta. That's the spot vol dynamics that most sophisticated firms use today is a modified mixture of the two ideas. So you the money vol depends on skew, but with a multiple, and the shape is frozen in some normalized coordinates. The shape is frozen in normalized coordinates only up to only as a first order approximation. If you do regressions, especially in the low volatility regime, you will notice some correlation of curvature with underlying. But that's the second order effect. Hope this put some clarity on spot vol dynamics, and you can read more about correct delta calculation that takes spot vol dynamics into account in Tim's post that we're going to reference in this video.